And beautiful shout out on this Monday afternoon, a little bit early afternoon here in Honolulu, Hawaii. And we're located at the Ritz-Carlton, pretty much downtown Honolulu, right 1 block away from the Waikiki Strip. And I want to jump on for this live stream and talk to you about business success and feng shui. So many years ago, I took a class by my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, the modern founder of Pranic healing and Arhatic yoga. And one of the classes of the 20 different classes he taught is Pranic feng shui, which basically gives you the proper direction for prosperity, abundance, success, harmony, good health, vitality within your home environment as well as your work or office environment. And you would be amazed at how much it affects the feng shui of an office space affects the productivity and prosperity of a business. I'll give you an example. So many years ago, there was a successful businessman that was meeting with Master Choa. And he said, Master Choa, we're expanding our business, and an opportunity came up to get a lease for this other office space that's much cheaper, but the direction of the place is not so good. And Master Choa scanned the energy, looked at the energy, and he recommended, Master Choa being a great spiritual teacher and a great businessman, said, no, there'll be another opportunity presenting itself. Don't take this opportunity. So this person went for counsel, went for advice by the teacher, chose not to listen to that advice, and ended up renting out this space anyways, moving his entire business there. And within about a 6-month period, the only thing that was different was the feng shui or location of his business. The profits went down by about 60%, which is pretty significant. 60% is a pretty big drop. All because of the improper feng shui of this particular office space. Now, you might be saying, come on, there's got to be other factors. Of course, there are other factors that determine whether someone is successful in business or not successful in business. Many factors. But wouldn't it make sense to have as many factors on your side for success as opposed to not? So the analogy that my teacher likes to use about feng shui is similar to an escalator. So with the proper feng shui of a business, it's like walking up an escalator that's going up. With bad feng shui, it's like walking up an escalator that's going down. So you're having to put in more time, more energy, more effort, right, in order to get to the same result. Or using it, the plane analogy that sometimes I like to share with you guys, it's kind of like if you have a headwind, meaning you're in a plane and the wind is hitting the head of the plane, it's making it more difficult for the plane to arrive to its destination. So it's spending more fuel and more time and more energy to get to the location versus having a tailwind, which is the wind is pushing the plane, getting it to its location with less fuel, faster with less effort. So that's what proper feng shui is. So having it on your side can make your life really easy. And there are many little tiny tweaks that you can do inside of an office space for the negotiation space, for the workspace, for the creativity space, for the leadership space, right? The main office, that if you do these little tweaks throughout the day, it increases the productivity, the prosperity, the harmony, the materialization energies within that space. And I remember, funny enough, an ex of mine, we were living in Jersey City, and it was one of the worst financial times of our entire life finding this location just to rent out, because we were kind of in transition. So we found this place, and she lost her job when we found the place. I lost my job when we found the place, and we realized that the feng shui of this particular place was southwest. The worst direction possible, the worst direction possible for materialization, for prosperity, right? So then, right across the street, we saw a sign that said for rent, which was the exact opposite feng shui, which is exactly we wanted. And literally, we called up the phone number as quickly as possible. We begged to have a viewing. We begged for them to take our security deposit and to move into that place within a couple days. Literally 2 days later, after moving into that place, she got a job and I got a job. Now you could say, but Christian, that's coincidental. Fine. There are many, 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 many factors that determine whether you're going to be successful in life or unsuccessful in life. But being an intelligent person, wouldn't you want as much help as possible? As many factors in your favor as possible to move your life forward, to move your business forward, to move your prosperity forward? Of course, right? It only makes sense. And we stayed at that place for a couple years, and then it was onward and upward to other opportunities. So it's not just the location. This is really important. This is another experience in my own life, but I gave you experience from other clients. But another example of how prosperity affects you, where you live. I remember I was in the process of leaving Denver, Colorado, and I had been living in Denver for about 8 years. I lived all over Denver and a little bit outside Denver. I love Denver. I thought I was going to retire in Denver, but other factors came up that it was no longer suitable for my energy. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if there are other places. Right? So I ended up coming up with a list of 6 or 7 other locations that I could move to that would help me with my happiness, help me with my prosperity, help me with my healing practice. Some of them were inside of Colorado, some of them were outside. Actually, one place, I was sitting in meditation one time, and this name came into my awareness, Billings, Montana. I don't know if you know anything about Billings, Montana. I've never heard of Billings, Montana. I've never been to Billings, Montana. I have no association to Billings, Montana. But the word Billings, Montana came up in my meditation. So I ended up meeting with one of my mentors who was helping me scan or feel the energy of a particular location to kind of start my business anew in that location. And I wrote out the 6 or 7 places, one of them being Billings, Montana, and we felt the energy, the prosperity energy, the happiness energy, etc. And this place was no, this place was no, this place was no. And then she says, Billings, Montana, pretty strong. And I go, Billings, Montana. And so I made a trip out there, and I said, you know what? I'm already here in Montana. Why not spend the next 6 days driving 1,300 miles around all the major cities, and maybe I'll find an even better location. Well, I ended up finding a place called Whitefish, Montana. And I was like, Whitefish. All right. I really like the energy of Whitefish. I really could see myself leading meditation classes online here, doing healings with clients online here. I just like the vibe of it. So I ended up going back to another mentor, and I said, okay, we got Billings, Montana, but we got a couple other places outside of Billings. Whitefish, Bozeman, and one other place, but I think it was the three major areas: Billings, Montana, Bozeman, Montana, and Whitefish, Montana. And it was an interesting time because it was at like November, December. And if you know how the areas work there, Bozeman is kind of opposite of the in season as Whitefish. Bozeman is South Montana, Whitefish is Northern Montana, right next to the Canadian border. And my mentor and I were discovering, okay, these places all have really good prosperity energy. They all have a lot of happiness energy, and you can't really go wrong. But the problem was the time of the year that I was looking to rent. I was like, well, I like Bozeman. It's like the LA of Montana, but there's no places for rent. It's just not a good time. And then Whitefish, it was their off season, which I was like, okay, great. But you can't find something for 12 months because people rent Airbnbs during the on season, which is during the summer. So you could only get like a 6-month lease. And I was like, all right, let's figure this out. So I said, you know what? I found out that there's another place right next to Whitefish I hadn't been to called Kalispell, Montana, 20 minutes away, only 20 minutes away. I didn't tell my mentor, but I said, all right, it's really close to Whitefish, she's going to have the same level of happiness, the same level of prosperity. We can make it happen. And surprise, surprise, I ended up looking around for places to rent in Kalispell. Found a place, perfect. Beautiful location, like beautiful, magical location. Beautiful inside location, right? So inside and outside, absolutely beautiful. It had good feng shui inside the place. I was like, this is it. I'm gonna hang my hat here for 6 months. Well, I ended up being there for 6 months, and it was a very, very difficult time. Not the most difficult time on my prosperity and success of my business, but it wasn't the best. And I later talked to my mentor about it because I was keeping it under wraps. And she goes, well, where did you eventually decide to move to? And I said, well, I couldn't find anything in Whitefish. I found something in Kalispell, Montana. And she goes, really? I go, what? She goes, scan the energy, meaning feel the energy. She says, look at the energy, meaning clairvoyantly look at the energy, right? Because everything has energy connected to it, right? And she goes, it is not even in the same ballpark as Whitefish. And then I did a little digging, a little research, a little outer understanding. Come to find out, where I was located on the DL was a lot of meth. A lot of meth. It was like the meth capital of Montana. One of. There's a lot of meth places in Montana. I love you, Montana. You're still some of the friendliest people I've ever met in my entire life are in Montana. But to be fair, where I was, there was a big meth supply. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that a meth area, a place that produces meth, is going to have lower, denser, more negative energies that would affect a business? Yes or no? Most likely yes. The next question is it the area that attracts the meth, or is it the meth is attracted to the area? It's the meth that's attracted to the area. The area first has the energy, and then that energy pulls certain people with certain like energies that have certain lessons to learn. So I was attracted to that location not because I have a meth addiction, but because I had some lessons to learn, and I wasn't karmically entitled to be living in the Whitefish area. Now, if I had moved to Whitefish, if I was able to find a place, if I was persistent enough, do you think I could have found something in Whitefish and my prosperity would have been easier? I'm going to say most likely, right? Many factors to consider, but most likely that would have been a major, major factor that would have contributed to greater financial prosperity, abundance, and success. So I live here in Honolulu, Hawaii, which, again, maybe I'm not learning my lesson, to be fair. I absolutely love Hawaii. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It has some of the most beautiful energies I've ever experienced. I've had some of the deepest meditations I've ever experienced, some of the greatest happiness I've ever experienced, but it's been challenging. And then I realized, wait a minute, when my mentor and I were talking about coming to Hawaii, it was the choice of Maui or Oahu. Guess which one had stronger energy for what I do as an energy healer, as a meditation teacher, and would have helped more with prosperity? Maui. Now, I had lessons to learn in Oahu. I had karma to neutralize in Oahu. I had people to meet in Oahu, right? I wasn't supposed to be in Maui at that time. But again, there are many factors to success, and you want to have as many factors on your side to help you with success. You want to stack the factors in your favor. So I'm currently in the process of looking to move to another part of Oahu, and or looking for an opportunity in Maui. That would be more suitable for my energy, for my disposition, for the work that I do. Now, does that mean if somebody moves to Maui or if somebody moves to Honolulu, they're not going to be successful? No, because some people are more successful in other areas than others, right? And so that's kind of what I want to make a point. So are there people that moved to Kalispell, Montana that became extraordinarily prosperous and successful? Yes. Are there people that have moved to Maui that lost money or had financial difficulties? Yes. So there are many factors to consider. Some energy is better for other people than others. Some energy is better than certain kinds of businesses than others. So all factors have to be considered. It's not a one size fits all, right? You hear a lot of business people and entrepreneurs moving to Dubai because of the tax benefits there. Now, does that mean everyone and anyone who moves to Dubai and takes their business with them is going to be financially more prosperous and successful? Possibly, possibly not. There's factors to consider, right? And so my business is helping other businesses determine that. And for instance, this is a really big thing to consider. If the business owner's energy is not right, the business will not be right. If the business owner's energy is not clean, healthy, and strong, the business will not be clean, healthy, and strong. Because I can notice a direct correlation to when I do my inner work, when I do healing on myself, when I do meditation on myself, when I become a better person, my business becomes more profitable, more healthy, and I can help transform the lives of more people. But when my energy is low, depleted, congested, full of doubt, anxiety, fear, low self-esteem, poverty consciousness, it negatively affects my business, right? So always keep that in mind. So it's a factor to consider of like, where do I want to open my business? Where do I want to expand my business? Not only the space itself, the feng shui of the space itself, but also the location of where you're going to have the business. What part of the state, or what part of the city, what part of the country, what part of the world are all factors to consider. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys got value out of this. If you got value out of this, please like, share, and subscribe. And by sharing it, just, grab the old little share button. Share it with a friend, share it with another business owner, another executive that can get value out of this, because it's giving you a different viewpoint, a different way of looking at things. Now, you might be saying, well, Christian, you weren't following your own advice. Am I perfect? No. Have I ever claimed to be perfect? No. Am I still a human being that is in the process of growing and evolving? Yes. Do I have lessons to learn in my own life, in my own business, in my own practice? Yes. But that doesn't mean I'm not effective at helping other people, because I'm outside eyes for other people, because they're hiring me to help them see things that they can't see. Just like my mentor was helping me see things that I couldn't see. At certain times, I chose not to listen. Maybe you gotta look at the negative pride a little bit, right? So lots of love to you guys. Join us again tomorrow for another live stream on some topic related to business and energy, and we will talk to you soon. This is Christian Long with the Inner Transformation Group, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life from the Ritz-Carlton. Bye-bye.